It's 5:32, and we'll start and call this meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Director Reedy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if we could have the roll call.
Director Gore,
Here.
Director Reedy,
Here.
Director Haderschelt,
Here.
Chair Halden.
Here. Thank you. And next, the statement of meeting procedures. You're on again.
Welcome to the Western Placer Waste Management Authority meeting of June 11th, 2026. Agendas are available on the table outside this meeting room. If you are here to speak on a matter not on the agenda, you may do so during public comment. The board is not permitted to take action on items addressed under public comment. All items on the agenda will be open for the public to address before final action is taken. Accessibility information is provided on the meeting agenda. Please turn off or put in silent mode all cell phones and other electronic devices. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you. All right, next is item 5, public comment. This is a time when people may address the board regarding items that are not on today's agenda. It's requested that comments be brief since the board is not permitted to take any action on items addressed under public comment. Is there any member of the public who would like to make a comment? Okay. Next item is item 6, announcements and information. We'll begin with a report from the general manager.
Thank you, Chair Halden. Couple items to go through. Yesterday, we did the first annual WATMA Bring Your Children to Work Day. It went very well. Unfortunately, my daughter's 6, so she couldn't make it, but we had it was very well attended, and it was a great time for everybody. This past Tuesday morning, and in collaboration with Placer County Department of Agriculture, WATMA accepted 4 loads of quarantined grape and fruit trees confiscated from local Costco's. It was discovered that the plants contained glassy-winged sharpshooters, an insect that is usually limited to Southern Cal but poses a threat to Northern Cal wine industry. So we, with the help of FCC team, we took the loads. The contents had previously been solarized to kill the insects, and they were disposed of immediately. So that was a well-run effort by Will and the FCC team. I think it was a big deal, so that's great. Also, CAL FIRE conducted a successful controlled training burn on Monday, the 8th, on our western property. There's a rumor that Will actually got to start the fire, so I think he was pretty excited about that. The Biofiltro leachate pretreatment facility is under construction. Brian might have a little more to say on that. The second quarter SB 1383 audit will start on June 21st. Kind of to coincide with that audit, on the 22nd, we'll be hosting a fairly large industry roundtable working group forum that's going to bring together higher level members from CalRecycle on the enforcement team for 1383 and SB 54, the Circular Action Alliance, which is the group, the producer responsible organization that's in charge of really implementing SB 54 and distributing the funds. And other local jurisdictions are all invited, the member agencies. So it should be a great day. We're going to do a tour of the facility and observing the SB 1383 audit that's going on. So we're kind of wrapping it all into one event. Really looking forward to that. We received our final reimbursement from the organics grant yesterday from CalRecycle, $2.74 million. The big number, bringing the total up to $9.84 million. Bless you. So I want to thank Stephanie Ulmer for putting in a lot of work on that. She's not here tonight, but those grants are not easy to manage, and she did a great job.
That was definitely worthwhile work.
It was, and we're hoping for more of those opportunities
yeah.
which are out there. And then just the last bit, our injured employee, Justin Pace, he's fully returned to work and released, so we're excited about that. And Will has hired another utility service worker on his staff, and Ryan has an assistant engineer that's starting next week. So we're really building out the organization and bringing more of these services in-house. So we're moving in that direction. That's it.
Great, thank you. The next item is item 6B, financial reports.
Yeah, so if you guys want to direct your attention to page 3, we have the April budget to actuals. We're 10 months into the fiscal year. Revenue is trending better than budget. Through April, we're about 6.4% above budget. This doesn't include the 2.7 million that Scott talked about. And the one item I will note here on the revenue is just the miscellaneous revenue is up by about 166,000. We did have a disincentive for landfill compaction that was levied last month. So that revenue is trending a little bit higher as well. On the expense side, we're also trending better than budget. The one thing I will point out here in the expenses is it looks like we have a large favorable variance in the bond interest there, but that's just due to timing. We're going to be paying in June about $2 million for our bonds. So is there any questions?
Okay, great.
Yeah,
And-
the only question I have is, are we supposed to have a screen that's active?
No, not that I'm aware of. I believe so.
Just want to make sure.
Not for me, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Next item is item 6C, our monthly tonnage reports.
Good evening, Chair Halden, Board of Directors. Before you have the monthly tonnages through May. Looking at the tonnages thus far, MSW is trending lower than expected, while C&D is a bit higher, and that is due to primarily the changeover from, as I mentioned before, some MSW characterized junk loads going over to C&D. It's not quite one-to-one, but that is making up a large portion of that variance you see there. And then green waste, looks like we had our peak earlier than expected, our large peak, and we're getting our smaller peak later than expected. Everything else is trending well, though, tonnage-wise, and I'd be happy to answer any questions your board may have.
Okay, any questions? All right. Okay, next item is 6D, operator update. Hello, Tony.
Hello, good evening. So our team continues to focus on driving the efficiencies and overall optimizing our uptimes with the entire facility so that we can keep up with the demands of the facilities here. Our focus now turns to quarter 2, SB 1383, as Scott mentioned. We've got the team laser focused. The folks have their individual assignments. They're engaged. They know what to expect. I also raised my hand, and we will be receiving assistance from our corporate team. So we will have more hands on deck, especially to help us cover critical roles. And as previously mentioned, we recognize the soonest we'll be able to achieve the overall rolling 4-quarter exceedance in the SB 1383 will be the end of quarter 4. Joining me here tonight, Chad, Senior Ops Manager. We also have Matt, Compost Manager. We have Joe, C&D Manager. And with us, special site visit, our COO, Carlos Puebla. Carlos has been instrumental in helping us drive and also to remind me that I'm not alone. He has been key in bringing in the resources every time I say help. More so than everything, right now we do recognize that we've got to fill a role. Our general manager role is vacant, but we're taking our time. We want to make sure that we select the best candidate for the site. We want to make sure that this individual stays long-term. and that they can be here committed by our side. In early July, we'll also continue to work with our business partners, and accountability, as we all know, has to be shared with our stakeholders as well. That being Van Dyke for us and Sustainable Generations. So as we get ready to do the systems performance test, we've got to make sure that the systems can handle every promise that was made. And so it is our obligation to hold them accountable as well. And we look forward to coming back with the results after we commence these in early July. With the end of July nearing, I've done a little bit of soul searching. It's almost been a year since I joined the team. I chose to come here, and I'm very, very proud. And I want to acknowledge, while it has been easy, it's been very, very difficult. However, I have a great team, and I need to acknowledge that when I look back a year ago, I was probably one of the biggest complainers. Delays. The guys aren't coming back in time. That's not the case. Okay, so in a short amount of time, 10 months, what the team has done, along with the WAPMA staff, is get us to a sustainable place where we could see the end, we could see it near. And we still have some challenges, and we recognize that. But I'm very, very excited. I need to pass the accolades over to the team. I'm just their spokesperson. I'm their cheerleader. But the reality is they've been the ones that they've shown the results. And I want them to happen fast, I recognize, but short and steady is going to be what wins the race. So look forward to coming back next month and the month after to continue to provide these updates. Any questions for our team?
Nope.
Just a comment. Thank you. I think that's, right. We jousted when you first got here, and your commitment to this is recognized. That's all I think I really need to say.
Appreciate that, but it's not me. It is the staff, and I recognize that. Thank you.
But you have to ensure, and everybody has to ensure the culture, and make attainable goals and do review dues. So you and the team, thank you.
Appreciate it.
So just a quick comment. Thank you, Tony, for the report. Thanks for the commitment. You can't leave, ever. So please make sure he doesn't leave.
You guys will have to kick me out.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right. Moving on to item 6E, facility projects update. Ryan.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, Board. You'll notice that this project update is getting shorter and shorter as we near the close of the MRF improvement project. So I'll just get going, and as the year goes on, we'll kind of add some of the smaller projects in here that we feel are going to be fun and informational, highlight more kind of maintenance projects around the facility, like concrete repairs and liner repairs and projects like those. So we'll have those for you at the next meeting. For this one, we got under MRF improvements. As the project scope comes to a close, we're just working with the FCC to make sure that all the punch list items get taken care of. Stuff as small as, door alignments not being perfect, or kick panels on doors, making sure they're on the right side. And it goes really, really down into the details. So we're just constantly working through those, just making sure we get it all taken care of before the construction team heads out. Van Dyke is continuing to finish the installation of the odor control equipment. They're getting very close. I think I saw some of the final pieces of the ducting going up earlier this week, and they do expect the completion of that equipment in mid-June. The scales are complete, and we're still just working diligently with FCC operations team to determine kind of a final traffic flow, how those scales are going to be integrated to maximize the efficiency for all the C&D customers coming in and out. And then the card reader kiosks are also ordered, but we don't expect them to actually be installed and functional until this fall, and that will just increase that efficiency as well. Moving on to the liner investigation, we are working on finalizing a design and mitigation solution that we can propose to the water board. We expect to have that document at some point in July for their approval. And then upon their approval, depending on how long their review takes, we'll kind of determine when we try to target the actual completion of that work. If it's looking more towards the fall that we get their approval, we probably have to push to next construction season. But if they turn it around quickly, then we might be able to make something work for this year and get that behind us, so we don't have to linger on that through another winter. For the South Placer Wastewater Authority compliance project, Scott alluded that Biofiltro has begun, they actually began offsite construction and prefabrication activities at the start of June, and they began the on-site construction activities this week. I met with them yesterday to go over the actual layout, and they staked elevations, and they're kind of getting all the surveying complete for that. So expect to actually get some of that groundwork moving on Monday. And then the expected completion date for that construction is still August 15th. And then the final compliance date is October 26th. So it gives them about 2.5 months to kind of determine and fine tune the system once it's complete. So expect to have a nice long lead time going into that final compliance date to work out the kinks and get it all up and running. For site odors, obviously continuing to work with FCC regarding the intermittent odors. We've actually been experiencing a lot less in the past month or two. We did have some odor complaints come through the past couple days, which were attributed to ag usage in the area, kind of a more manure smell. Thankfully, nothing resembling the intensity of the one last year, but still getting some feedback from the public on that. And then Jacobs Engineering is kind of nearing the finalization of determining a power supply for the additional aeration infrastructure that would be proposed to put into the south compost pond, just keeping that dissolved oxygen at a high level, preventing that pond from going into an anaerobic state where a lot of those odors come from. And with that, that's everything I have for the moment, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, so PG, with the wind coming up and the heat coming up, PG&E is doing more power shutdowns. Do we have generation here that prevents any shutdowns of the system?
We don't have full, like, one-to-one power generation on site as generators to power the MRF and whatnot, but we are able to keep the scales open, the blower flare station powered and charged on the well field, and as well as the main offices.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there any member of the public that would like to comment on any of these items under item 6? Okay, all right. We'll move forward then to item 7, our consent agenda. These are routine matters that can be taken with one motion. Is there anyone from the board that would like to pull any of these items?
Move the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion made by Director Haderschelt, seconded by Vice Chair Reedy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Next item is item 8, action items. Item 8A, the LFG beneficial use agreement with Ameresco. General Manager Schultz.
Thank you, Chair Halden. Tonight we're asking the staff is asking for board to authorize the WATMA GM, myself, upon approval from WATMA Council to execute the landfill gas beneficial use agreement with Amoresco Power Energy. Can provide a little bit of background. The board directed staff to issue an RFP for landfill gas beneficial use in August of 2024. RFP went out on in July 2025 through Placer County Procurement. We had 20 firms register and 7 submitted proposals. An evaluation committee reviewed and interviewed the top 2 firms and unanimously agreed and selected Amoresco. The board authorized staff to enter into negotiations with Amoresco in November of 2025. Over the course of the last 6 months, we've been working diligently to finalize the agreement. There were some delays due to a restructuring on the Amoresco side, and that was figured out, and it actually provides more funding for their side to enhance the facility, so it's a good thing for all parties. There are a few minor non-material items that need to be worked out in the contract, which is why we're asking for authorization for me to sign it once that is completed. What this agreement does is it allows Amoresco will acquire all the existing Amoresco will acquire all the existing power plant assets at the landfill from Energy 2001 and operate them under a new 20-year agreement. WATMA will receive 30% of the gross energy sales revenue. This conservatively comes out to $1.55 million, where our current royalties are right around $300,000. They are some of the reasons that it's higher is they have a higher offtake PPA agreement. They are going to invest more into the machinery and their goal is to use all of the landfill gas, which isn't currently happening. So we can monetize every bit of gas that's created. That's the goal of Amoresco. That's the goal from us. Basically, I would say this has been a thorough competitive procurement. Amoresco is a well-capitalized, publicly traded international firm based out of Massachusetts with over 25 years of landfill gas to energy experience. The financial terms are favorable, minimal risk to WATMA. I'm confident this is a great outcome for our facility, and I'm happy to answer any questions, and I believe we do have a representative from Amoresco also on the line. She couldn't, oh, there she is, for any questions the board might have.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, clarification, when you say conservatively, does that mean that the royalties might be higher, or does that mean conservatively as?
No, we're thinking the royalties will be higher. That's a estimate that.
Guaranteed minimum, or?
There isn't a guaranteed minimum. We chose to go with a 30% royalty over a lesser percentage with a guaranteed minimum. I could let Sheila address this, some of the issues with the minimum, they need to get in there and assess the plant and determine its capabilities and figure out what they need to do to get it to performing at its full capabilities. And I think that I know it's a win-win, obviously, for Amoresco and for WATMA for them to pull as much of our gases as they can. I don't know if Sheila, did you have anything to add on that?
Sure. I think one of the first things that we'll do is update the controls to make sure that the plant works with the flare, and we'll be taking 100% of the gas, running the plant at full load. And that will not only save WATMA the electric that they're paying right now to run the flare, but the increased generation will result in increased royalties for you all. Additionally, we do have a very solid fixed price offtake, so you can feel comfortable knowing that it's not something that we have to worry about. What are we going to sell the power for? We know that. We have that commitment for 20 years.
Any other questions? Director Reading? You turn yourself off there.
Whoops, wrong way. Sorry, I couldn't see my light. So
your power purchase agreement mirrors the length of our agreement with you. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay. And there, I assume that your agreement has some kind of CPI or escalators in it to go over 20 years, or however you built that contract?
I'd have to look and see what it is, but we modeled it exactly the way we built the power agreement will be.
Okay. Thank you.
Director Gore.
Thank you, appreciate that. So you'll go in, you'll assess the facilities and determine then what you need to do on site, correct? And then that could be some expansion, et cetera. What do you anticipate the timeline to be, just as far as being able to be up and running completely?
So the contract allots for up to 6 months, and that's only so that we have time to transfer permits, transfer interconnect agreements, such as that. But we would anticipate a much shorter time frame. I would assume, I would think it would probably be maybe 3 months. But when we sign the agreement, we're going to start as soon as we. How do I say this? The contract is written such that even if we're shaking out some equipment and we decide that, hey, we've got to upgrade something or do some maintenance on it, we know that we will go ahead and be paying royalties on what we are generating. As you can imagine, as the contract came to the end of its useful life for Energy 2001, and they knew that there was an RFP out, there's some major maintenance that needs to be done as soon as we take over the plant. So we already know that ahead of time. We will be doing that major maintenance. So it's not anything that we anticipate being unusual. It's something that obviously extends the life of the internal combustion engines, and it's something that is in the ordinary course of business. So we'll take one engine down at a time, do the major maintenance, and then have them up and ready to go.
Great, thank you, appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you. That was going to be my question too. So, all right. At this time, I'll open for any comments from the public. All right. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chair, first of all, I want to say thank you to you all for working through this process and not jumping on the very first red herring that was out there, and the willingness to really find a good partner to work with. So really appreciate that. Really appreciate Ameresco coming to the table and helping us utilize this facility even further, utilize the resources we have. I do want to say thank you to Energy 2001, to Laura, for just your willingness to work with the partners and even being the one to tell us about Ameresco way back when. Maybe others don't know that, but I know that. And I just I appreciate the long-term investment that you made to the WAPNA and your business, and it's been a beneficial business, so appreciate that. And I'm really excited that we actually get to move forward with a new opportunity to just continue to utilize the resources we have here at the site. So thank you, everyone. And with that, I'd be happy to move approval, unless anybody, I'll move approval of the, I don't know if anyone read the entire action item, or if it needs to be read into the record. I don't remember if anybody read it. And if no one read it, I can read it.
And the entire action item doesn't need to be read into the record. It can be, the motion, if you're comfortable, could be as presented in the staff report.
All right,
That's up
I
to you.
will do that. I'll move for approval of item 8A, 1 and 2, the landfill gas beneficial use agreement with Ameresco as written in the staff report.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further comments? Okay. I also would like to thank staff for the long work on this. I appreciate that we got this through an RFP and didn't come up through some other kind of method, because we got good response and had options and chose the best one, for our agency. So I appreciate that. All right. With that, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. The motion passes unanimously. And she disappeared, just like that.
Thank you. And it's. and
She's on the East Coast.
I'll
I
have to
think,
eat
so.
some dinner. Oh, she's going to sleep. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll move on to item 8B, the first amended and restated Materials Recovery Facility Operating Agreement, and we'll go back to our general manager.
Oh,
Excuse
no.
me, your microphone isn't on. Thank you.
Authorize the chair to execute the first amended and restated operating agreement between WATMA and FCC Environmental Services of California for operation of the Material Recovery Facility. So this is, I'm excited about this one. It's been a long time coming. For a little bit of background, as the board will recall, and at the September 2025 meeting, staff reported that FCC did not meet the contractually obligated minimum material recovery rates for both the municipal solid waste and the C&D debris during the fiscal year 24-25 timeframe. As a result, FCC was liable to WATMA for disincentive payment of $994,210, and the contract default provisions were triggered. Board directed staff to levy and collect the full disincentive payment and negotiate an amendment for board consideration. WATMA did receive the full remittance of the $994,000 in October of 2025. Over the past 9 months, staff and FCC have held numerous discussions to restructure the operating agreement around a set of deal points that was presented to your board. The proposed modifications reflect a broad set of priorities, greater accountability for meeting material diversion metrics, including SB 1383 requirements, strong consequences for underperformance, enhanced cost controls, clear operational expectations, and expanded flexibility for WATMA to generate additional revenues through marketing excess processing facility capacity. This amended and restated agreement better serves WATMA, our member agencies, and all customers that use our facility. The first amended and restated agreement is a result of a 9-month, very collaborative process with FCC. I thank them for everything they did in working with us on this and being open to this process. It was really one of the more pleasurable ones that I've been through. I think we had shared goals and it really showed. We were able to we had 21 deal points. We were able to reach an agreement on the majority of them, 15 of them. We agreed it made sense to table some of the larger ones for future discussions. The compost pad expansion and the administrative offices were put off for another amendment possibly. We just wanted to get this through first. And this agreement, this new amendment, really strengthens WATMA's position in several ways. Like I mentioned before, we have better control, better cost controls, more involvement on the regulations, on compliance. It's something that needed to be done. And there was also a lot of cleanup of the original agreement, items that were out of date, references to an executive director, things like that. So some of the key themes for this amendment: the facility completion and penalties. Expansion must be completed by July 31st, 2026. Performance testing within 90 days of completion. There's a $150,000 per month penalty for failure to complete the performance testing. That is a hefty disincentive. GMRL accountability, that's the minimum recovery level, moved from annual to quarterly evaluation of recycling performance. We no longer have to wait a full year to course correct, so this is good for everybody. The disincentives won't kick in quarterly, but at least we'll know and be able to make the adjustments to get it back on track. A different structure for the for the disincentives. It's a bit of a sliding scale. If they miss 58%, or one thing, if they're right around 58% or higher, then we will give a reduction. We essentially hold off on disincentives and give 6 months to correct the issues, and then we will start applying those disincentives. And any upgrades to the facility to get it to that level will come out of FCC's funds. The cost of living reform, which basically just cleaned that up. It took the California minimum wage out, added CPI for San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward, which is the standard that everybody uses in this industry, and we capped the increases at 3.75 on the high side with no carryover. So that's a long-term cost control that we can budget in. The first amended and restated agreement explicitly references WAPMA policy 2401, which is everything must be processed. So we have the ability to have control over what goes directly to the landfill. That was just missing in the last agreement, and that's very relevant for us as we want to meet our sustainability goals. The customer base, we now have sole discretion of out-of-county materials. We can take them. We don't have to have approval from the contractor as long as there is processing capacity, which we would not want to do unless we had that anyway. FCC is required to accept them, we don't have to request it. We also have more discretion about where the material goes. We can divert a certain amount of material on site or to a market of our choice, as long as it doesn't cause financial harm to FCC. So that's also a very good thing. Some of the items, as I mentioned, it doesn't address are the compost capacity. We know we're going to need more space out there to handle all the material. So we want to basically start working on that to make sure we can handle what we're getting and project out what we might need for 10 years out and figure out how we're going to pay for that. There was a consequential damages clause that we left. We just retained the original language. Josh can explain that a little more if need be, because I can't. And the administrative offices, obviously, as I mentioned, we left out. So I would just say I'm pleased at where this landed. It was 9 months, a long process. I think WAPMA came out with stronger tools, clearer language, a better working relationship with our partner. Few items didn't make it in, but none of them are critical. I think that the focus, we can get this done and really focus on completing the expansion, the testing, and then moving into full operations. We are committed to working with FCC to make it successful. As Tony has said, he's been here and he's committed to the process, and we're committed to supporting his group, and getting this done allows us to just put it behind us and move forward and become compliant with 1383 and keep the ball rolling. So that's a lot of information. Happy to answer any questions. Also have a contract expert here, Josh, who can answer any questions on the legal side.
All right. Any questions from directors? Director Reedy.
So could you, it sounded to me like the answer is near zero, but could you describe the cumulative, like sort of that impact pro or con to WAPMA based on the changes for the next fiscal year? And CPI sounds like the fiscal years in the future, some controls there, but do the changes change the financials at all, essentially is what I'm getting at, the relationship between WAPMA and FCC outside of the damages part?
No, no, they don't. Just the CPI would have some impact. Yeah.
Thank you.
Director Hodeschelt.
Yeah, I wanted to, and let me compliment you on the format behind the staff report. that really breaks it down by section. So I'm on page 64. The item is quarterly SB 1383 sampling. And it said implement with modifications. So it's, if I'm reading this correctly, it's shifting the responsibility to WAPMA. Is that correct?
Well, when we first went in, we were going to take the responsibility over and have it funded by FCC for the sampling, using an independent contractor. Where we settled is FCC would still work directly and own it, but they do have to use an independent contractor unless we deem that wouldn't be necessary.
And apologize if I'm mixing terms here, but the audit that Tony talked about
Yeah,
is this
Correct.
1383 audit.
correct. Yes.
And we're not, how close are we to compliance? We've had one quarter?
We had one quarter at, I believe, 82%, but we were coming in so low that we will need the remaining 3 quarters above 75% to get it above 75%.
All right, thank you. And Tony, this is what I should have said to you, but when the staff at Environmental Utilities, Solid Waste briefs me, and they're not grumpy, they're pleased. I mean, that's what I'm saying, Tony.
Yeah.
Is you've come a long way in building that relationship, and progress moves at the rate of trust. So, thank you.
Any questions? Okay, great. All right. Any comments from the public? Or if anyone from FCC would want to say anything, you don't have to, but just if you'd like to, this would be a time. Okay, no comments from the public. I'll bring it back to the board for further discussion.
I'll just say thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. And I'm really looking forward to a very successful quarterly report at the end of this month, and then the next 2 after that. So thank you. It's, as you mentioned, Tony, we're in a much better place than we were a year ago, and we appreciate that as a board.
And then, Mr. Chair, if you're ready for a motion, I'll
Sure.
move the recommended actions to execute the First Amendment and restated operating agreement between WAPMA and FCC Environmental Services, and determine the recommended action is not a project pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Director Hodeschelt, seconded by Director Gore. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll move on to item 9, the highly anticipated reports from directors. Does anybody have a report?
It's still great out there today, just saying.
Yeah.
Oh. We like to hear that.
All right. Item 10, upcoming agenda items. Are there any items that people would like added to a future agenda? Hearing none. Okay. With that, we're adjourned at 6:15.